to the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and our very welcome guest tonight. The speech's title is Toastmasters, so much more than public speaking. I'd like to start with two awkward bits of personal information. The first and most awkward bit is that with my own special brand of anxiety, I had developed a completely irrational fear of blurting out something just ridiculously absurd. And then the other second bit of information, which is a lot less awkward and more people can relate to, I know, is that I really did not like being in any kind of group any time in my life. And so going to and staying with Toastmasters has been my own personal miracle. My journey started when my first novel was about to be released and a publicist said, "Hey, I think I could maybe get you some radio and TV spots," which by the way never happened, but regardless, instead of feeling maybe nervously excited, but excited, I felt only complete dread. And I had been so, by the way, proud of myself for having completed a novel about a woman overcoming anxiety. So I told myself, okay, it's time for this author to do it herself. And it was very difficult to think about doing that, although I had overcome a lot of fear through the cathartic art of writing and self-help books. The mountainous fear of public speaking just loomed over me. I didn't know much about Toastmasters except that I know it helps people hone their public speaking skills, and I knew that also it was in a group setting. So I thought, what a better immersion therapy could Toastmasters be for me? So I went to my first meeting and I sat in the back, hoping no one would call on me. But Toastmasters, being the friendly and inclusive folk that they are, asked me my name and how I found out about it. And with heart beating and stomach clenching and voice wavering, I quickly said my name and that I had heard about it through a couple of friends of mine. I didn't get any stink eye. So I could just relax for the rest of the evening and sit back and watch. But no, then table topics came up, where that's where you have the opportunity to answer an impromptu question for 1 to 2 minutes. And I could have passed, but I knew that if I didn't, it would have been that much harder the next time I was there. So I got up, I stood in front of the group, and all those years ago, I can't remember the question or what I answered, but I do know this. I have this memory. With head down, I quickly answered in about 20 seconds flat. And when I looked up and finally took a breath, people clapped and they smiled. And I left that meeting not only with a huge, amazing sense of relief, but more importantly, empowerment and hope. And so here I am over 8 years later. I'm still in the same Toastmasters club that I first visited. And I have found that it really did help me get over my fear of public speaking. And yes, I still get nervous. And yes, I still flub up on my words, but it's okay. And wonderfully, I found out that I actually like public speaking, which I would have never guessed in a million years that that would have ever happened to me. And I've had an opportunity to speak at a nonprofit. I wrote a keynote speech on how to get over stress and anxiety. You write and you speak about what you know to several business lunch and learns. And then a fellow Toastmasters also told me about something called the Fearless Woman Summit, which I flew across the country for a couple years ago and spoke at that to hundreds of people from all over the world in person. It was such a moment that I actually teared up. And more importantly, too, besides what that journey has been about getting over the fear of public speaking, I have learned so much from my fellow Toastmasters, from their speeches, from their struggles, from them talking about how they learn to laugh at their fears. And I have to say that watching my fellow Toastmasters is so much more moving than even the most dynamic, famous speaker, because I've gotten to know them and that I have the opportunity to give them feedback at times, to congratulate them after their speech is done. And just to know that this person overcame such amazing triumphs. Alongside that, and just as amazing to me, is that I finally found a group that I enjoy being in. I really enjoy being with my Toastmasters. It's a group of diverse people from all walks of life who are caring, who are engaging and thoughtful. And so I have not only found a place where I can learn and grow, but a place I can feel connected and whole. And in conclusion, I would urge anybody who is interested in honing their public speaking skills to take a chance and check out a Toastmasters. And anyone who's just interested in getting over general anxiety and fear and walking towards more trust and hope.
Yay! Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.